Hey, welcome to the morning after show. Cohn, Ryan Hensley starting a half hour early by surprise because Kyle Shanahan's doing a press conference call at 12 o'clock. So we just wanted to start a half hour before anyone would expect, so no one would be here. We could just say all the wildest and craziest things with no witnesses. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Great game yesterday. I'm feeling good. I got my first YouTube direct deposit today, man. So that was cool.
That's a good feeling. Yeah. That's a good feeling.
Yeah,
nice. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations. So the title of the show is Reassessing Brock Purdy. We do that every week. Yesterday was quite informative. He was quite impressive. But we're going to take a real hard look at what he showed and what our expectations are going forward. Also, we're going to look real closely at Philly because even though that game's a week away, we've seen a lot of Philly. This is the game that everyone wants to talk about. But yeah, I think we should start with Brock. So my impression of his performance, I gave him a B+, which may have been generous. I mean, he managed the hell out of the game. First of all, managed the hell out of the game, didn't turn it over, got a little lucky, but basically he didn't make any bad decisions. Extended some plays, made a few plays, won his second playoff game. Very impressive. What did you see from Brock Purdy in this game?
Well, first of all, I think it's very important that we consider this kid is a rookie. What is he, 22 years old?
Just turned 23.
Just turned 23. So everything he's doing right now, it's impressive to me. The fact that he's able to play this well as a rookie, you don't see that a lot. So off top, it's definitely impressive. Also, a big thing for me is that we don't have many what the hell moments from Brock Purdy. I was thinking about that this morning. I'm trying to think back throughout the season. I can't even recall one moment where I was like, what the hell is he doing, right? And we had a lot of those with Jimmy Garoppolo. So that in itself is a huge achievement. He looked, probably his worst game of the season, maybe from a rating standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think he faced the best defense he's faced all year. And so that has to be taken into consideration. I think he did really well for what he was given. So overall, my opinion of Brock Purdy didn't really change too much. I kind of had this feeling about him all along. I think he's really close to his ceiling because of his experience. He's probably at 80% of his ceiling, maybe higher. So I don't think he's going to improve a ton like other rookie quarterbacks have throughout the history of the NFL. I think this is what we get from Brock Purdy. He'll learn a little bit about the NFL and defenses and things like that, so he can probably improve in that way. He can get stronger. He can add a little, a little zip on his passes maybe. But overall, I think this is who Brock Purdy is, and I think it's an improvement over Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's possibly good enough to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. I mean, possibly. I think the thing with Purdy is like, has he been a great story? Yes. Has he been an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes. Was he better than Dak Prescott yesterday? Yes. Is he going to be a top-level quarterback who wins a Super Bowl? I don't know. Like yesterday, he didn't necessarily look like that. He looked like a good quarterback, a game manager who also can extend the play and create a few plays as well. But frankly, like, let's look at the quarterbacks who are left in the tournament.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy. Like, one of these guys has a skill set that's unlike the other three. The other three are MVP caliber skill sets who can, big, can make every throw, quick, short, intermediate, deep, and can move. And Brock Purdy, like, he's just not that skill set. And I think we saw maybe he has reached the limit of his capability. I think maybe we saw the limit of that against Dallas. Like, he's not much of a scrambler. He can extend plays, but they tried a quarterback draw with him. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So, I mean, I'm a little after that game, I'm starting to think like, yeah, man, great story, but just being better than Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't necessarily mean that he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, first of all, apologize for the notification. It's Monday. I'm funding 2 loans right now, so I apologize. Next time I come on this show, I'm going to get that fixed.
It's all right.
But as you were saying, man, like in regards to the 4 quarterbacks that are left, Brock Purdy is number 4.
Yeah.
Right? Patrick Mahomes is ahead of those guys by far. Joe Burrows, Jalen Hurts, that's tougher for me, because of what Jalen Hurts offers in the run game. But Burrows is top notch. If I had to rank them right now, I would probably go, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, Burrows, Hurts, and then Purdy. So the question is he a franchise quarterback? I'm not sure, man. He's definitely.
But I mean, I think the point is with those quarterbacks, there's like a tier though. There's like a tier, and those 3 guys are in one tier, and it's like Purdy hasn't demonstrated that he's there yet. So however you want to rank those 3, doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
And
I think
they're in a different class.
Yeah, and I think honestly there might be 4 tiers there. I really, Patrick Mahomes to me is far better than all of them. That's one tier. Burrows. I don't know if Burrows and Hurts are on the same tier yet. They're very different. So possibly they're on the same tier. But is Purdy in that tier yet? I don't know. I don't.
But in terms of not in terms of accomplishment, but let's just look skill set. Like the reason I would compare Burrow, Mahomes, and Hurts is like they all can really sling the ball deep.
Yeah.
But they're also efficient underneath. They're big and they can move. Like that's. And again, we're going to get to Lance a little later, but that's why the Niners drafted Trey Lance. Is they're like, you know what? We have a good quarterback, but look at the guys who win the Super Bowl. We need a guy with a super special skill set to compete. So they spent all these they spent 3 first-round picks on Trey Lance and drafted Brock Purdy to be Lance's backup. That was the plan. Yeah. And so now Brock Purdy's doing great. But the question remains, is he good enough? Can he beat Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts in the NFC Championship game? Remains to be seen. Because it looks like in this game against Dallas, what Brock Purdy did was not lose it. He allowed Dak to Dak, which was amazing. I mean, they're paying $50 million for a guy to be like just a human. What is he? He's just a mistake waiting to happen on the football field. He had the 2 picks, but the worst one was the one to Greenlaw that Greenlaw threw away.
Yeah.
So Brock, fine, but I don't know if he's gonna out. You know what I'm saying? Like he just let Dak lose the game. Jalen Hurts I don't think he's gonna do that next week. Brock's gonna have to beat him.
Yeah, I don't think Brock Purdy. This might get me killed. I don't think Brock Purdy's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if he ever will be.
How dare you say that?
People are gonna get mad about it because
take it back.
His statistics. He's been number 1 in a lot of statistics since he's come here. But a lot of that has to do with Kyle Shanahan, the weapons he has, the teams he's played. All of those things have to be taken into consideration. But over the long term, he's not on the level of a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. And it depends on what you want. It depends on what you call a franchise quarterback. If you're looking for a top 5 quarterback, then no, I don't think he is that. If that's what you consider a franchise quarterback. If you're looking for a top 15, top 12 quarterback, he might just be that. Long term, he might be able to be that guy. So I think it just depends on what you're looking for.
And look, I don't want to be overly negative about Brock Purdy right now because he hasn't lost a game ever, and he did play well in this last game, and he might just win the Super Bowl this year. In which case, then I think he would be a franchise quarterback. If he wins the Super Bowl, depending on how he does it, you'd have to say he has a chance. But again, he hasn't. I don't think he's beaten a great quarterback on a great team yet. In the playoffs, he's beaten Geno Smith and Dak, who in my opinion, both of those quarterbacks sort of melted down. Eventually, I think Brock Purdy's going to have to beat a great quarterback who doesn't melt down, who's also on a great team. That could happen this week. Can he do it? I don't know. That's the question. If he can, he's the franchise quarterback. If not, well, it might be because he's reached his limit and he has some limitations that some of these top Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks don't have. And that's, again, the whole reason that they traded for Trey Lance and have him on the team and probably won't trade him and probably going to stick with him. And even though they're saying all the right things about Brock, I think everyone kind of looks at Brock as like, man, this is great, but like, when is this fantasy going to end? Right?
Yeah. Well,
when is this fantasy going to end?
Did you see what Nick Wright said about the 49ers?
What?
He said that the 49ers, in his opinion, would be the greatest or could be the greatest team ever if they had an elite quarterback. And he wasn't putting a knock on Brock Purdy, but he's saying if Patrick Mahomes is on this team, this might be the best team ever. That's what Nick Wright said. What do you think about
Fair enough. But what I would say is like it's not really realistic. It doesn't take much consideration into the salary cap. I mean, the Niners spend have the highest paid running back, the highest paid middle linebacker. They got the highest paid left. They have a lot of expensive people, tight end, wide receiver, and that's how their whole idea is to spend on everything else and to make life as easy as possible on the quarterback. They're not budgeted to have a $50 million a year quarterback. So yeah, if there were no salary cap and they could spend like Joe Lacob does, for sure. But, although I don't know about for sure, because there's some really good, that's the thing, Nick, right? Was he like our age? There were some really good teams before the salary cap when like people like Eddie DeBartolo could just go crazy and spend on everything. But I see what he means. Of the salary cap era, yes. But, dude, the Niners are trying to get by with a young, cheap quarterback. That's why they got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Kyle said it on the record.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know what he means.
Yeah, I mean,
Patrick Mahomes on a rookie deal? Sure.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes on a rookie deal on this team. Maybe,
sure.
Maybe one of the best teams ever. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence looks good.
Trey Lance.
We'll see about that. Maybe.
Yeah. But I know what you mean.
I understand why you question it, because now that he's playing, these top-notch teams, so far it didn't look like he did in the previous games against lower-level teams. Not that all the teams he played were bad; they weren't. But you definitely see a difference. And I think that's the problem that people have with Jimmy Garoppolo is when you go against these top-notch teams, is he good enough to win it all? And, the thing about Brock Purdy, like I said in the beginning, he doesn't have those what the hell moments where you're like, what the hell is this kid doing, right? You never feel that way. I felt like that with almost every game with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Whether he becomes the franchise man for the future, that's still yet to be determined.
I mean, it's just you can't get around the fact that they scored 19 points yesterday. And, there's a lot of blame to go around. And they won the game. But they won the game with their defense. And I think what we're saying is the Niners have tried to win a Super Bowl with their defense before. It doesn't really work. Eventually, you go against one of these crazy good quarterbacks, and you got to win it with your offense. And I think why people were so enthusiastic about the Niners' chances with Brock is they were winning games, scoring 35, 37 points. But that's not what happened yesterday. It felt more like, Jimmy might have lost that game. Jimmy can't extend those plays. Jimmy wouldn't have made that play to Kittle. That changed the game. It was a great play. I don't want to poo-poo Purdy. He's a good quarterback. He is a damn good quarterback. That rolling left, I was in the press box. I'm looking at, they cut the field in half. They had 3 guys flooding that side of the, no one's open. Yeah. And he has the calmness to see on the backside. Kittle, a lot of quarterbacks can't do that. So he is a damn good quarterback. But again, Dak lost the game. What Brock did in that game was make a couple plays and not lose it. Very impressive. Very freaking impressive for a rookie in a playoff game. But it's not going to be enough ultimately to win a Super Bowl. He's going to have to take it up a notch. I don't know if he can. This might be the best of Brock right now, which is damn good. Damn good.
Credit to the Dallas defense because they're
good.
A top-notch defense. And that first half, they were flying all over the place, making tackles. I think that's one of the biggest differences that we saw yesterday too. Dallas Cowboys can tackle. A lot of the teams
fast.
Yes, like yak yards come into play big time against these other teams that aren't as good at tackling as Dallas Cowboys. But you can't rely on yak yards when you're going against teams like the Cowboys that are going to get you down quickly and not miss a lot of tackles. And so that's why you desire quarterbacks that can throw the ball deep downfield accurately. That's why you look for those things in quarterbacks, and that's why you typically see the teams that are winning the Super Bowl have these top-notch elite quarterbacks most of the time. It's tough on Brock Purdy. Here's what I will say, too. I wanted to clarify something, if it's okay, Grant, that I tweeted out yesterday. I got hella shit for it. Excuse my language. But I said Brock Purdy is getting really lucky, and that wasn't a knock on him. That's what I want to clarify. Mm-hmm. He's playing good, and he's getting lucky. Those things are helping the 49ers win. When I say he's getting lucky, yesterday there was 2 balls that could have been intercepted. Do I think those were bad throws? No, I don't. They weren't bad throws. But they happened to get tipped. The one deep to Ayuk was like a 50-50 ball. I'm okay with 50-50 balls. I wish we had more of that. So I don't think that's a bad pass. Was it lucky it was intercepted? Yeah, possibly. The real lucky one was he threw it. It got tipped at the line of scrimmage, landed right in Diggs' hands, And he was lucky it wasn't caught. That doesn't mean it was a bad throw or that I blame Brock Purdy for that. But what I'm saying is there's probably been 5, 6, 7 throws in Brock Purdy's career this year that could have been intercepted. Probably 2 or 3 of them were bad throws. The other ones were just things that happened on the field, tip ball, like Juwan Jennings tipped the ball up. And for whatever reason, the ball's bouncing our way. And sometimes you need a little luck. If you show me any championship team in history, I'll show you at some point where luck went their way. And I think that's a good thing. I wanted to clarify that. It's not a knock on Purdy.
Also, like, we're talking about the offense scoring 19 points here. It's not all his fault. Like, actually, I thought he kept the offense afloat. What was interesting about last night was Dan Quinn comes in, and what were we talking about all week? Oh, well, they can't stop the run. So, what are they going to do? They can't stop the run. They stopped the run. They freaking stopped the run in the first half. So they put 5 guys in the line of scrimmage, basically stopped it with scheme. Like, we're putting a wall right here. And what they were effectively did was put a bunch of safeties on the field and play cover one robber schemes and take away the middle of the field. I mean, that's a really good start against Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. Like, if that's what teams are going to be doing now, really well coached, good, like stopping the run and taking away the middle of the field, Niners got a problem. They're not going to be scoring a lot of points. And like what they can do now is, they can have these play action plays where you flood one side of the zone or clear something out and then leak out a tight end or a running back on the backside of the play, and it works. But it takes some serious pass protection, which the Niners might not. They didn't have it in this game. Until Dallas got tired. They may not have it next week in Philly because Philly's not going to get tired and they have a great pass rush. So the Niners are finally coming up against some teams that are, taking away their strengths. And it's interesting. And if they fall short, it's a great story. But they might need to be honest with themselves and figure out what do they do to take the next step. But we're not there yet.
Yeah,
we're not there yet. They haven't lost yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's really important to understand that these guys are. The Dallas Cowboys are a really good defense, and I don't think there was anything yesterday that Purdy did bad. I didn't see anything bad from Purdy, right? And in fact, he had some really.
No, he was good. Throws. I thought he was really good.
Yeah. Some really small window throws, just like really good, man. I thought Brock Purdy played really well. I think yesterday was more about.
But really good might not be good enough.
It might not.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it was good enough yesterday because Dak Prescott. I'm just saying. I'm telling the story. I'm not saying who it was, but a player was walking past me in the tunnel after the game, and I heard him say to a staff member, "Hey, Dak gonna Dak." This is what the players in the league think of this man. Dak gonna Dak. All you gotta do, let him do it. So Dallas, his cap number is $50 million next year. 50. He's like Russell Wilson. They're in trouble.
Look at Dak's contract, and then look at Ezekiel Elliott's contract.
Trouble.
2 of the worst contracts in the NFL. I don't know what Jerry Jones.
That team's going nowhere.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Joey Mellon says, I'm worried about the missed tackles in the backfield. Who missed tackles in the backfield? Hufanga? Armstead. Yo, the game was kind of over at this point, but what happened on that Armstead play? What was that?
So we talked about that this morning on my show, but so Armstead, what people are saying, and maybe there's right. Maybe he was in his head thinking, I don't want to get a penalty here. And that's fine. But also, nah, bro, like make a play.
Whatever. Game was over.
Yeah, I mean
that was kind of amazing.
Over, but like, what was that? Like, give him a bear hug, or like hold him, do something. But that wasn't it, But I understand.
Look, I don't mind. It's not my problem. It's not my career. They won the game. But there are 2 moments in that game that I felt were embarrassing. That and the Mike McGlinchey play. Like, look, maybe Armstead and McGlinchey played great. Every other play of the game was like, I don't know, like.
Mike McGlinchey.
You put that on tape. Like, you can't take it back. You can't take it back.
Man, Parsons is a good player, though. So, I mean, I think McGlinchey.
That was one of the most physically impressive things I've ever seen a defensive player do on a football field. One hand through like a 300-pound 6'8", dude. Like, what? That was crazy.
That was wild. Yeah.
Modem Gamer says, one of my friends of 8 years who's a Cowboys fan blocked me on every social media after I told him that blaming the refs is a bad excuse.
Yes, it is.
You ended a friendship over that game.
Right.
William says, can we get a Fernando? I'm so sorry. Man. Fernando. Thank you, William. Scott, I had to change it up. I had to chop it and screw it. Scott Short says, out of the last remaining quarterbacks, only one has less than half a season of NFL game experience. He needs a full season. I say he's closer to 65-70% ceiling. And remember how average Brady looked. That's fair. I don't want to just be like, I've seen enough. 8 games. He's done. Like, but I think we'd all be lying.
Brady did rookie season, if we're being statistically.
We'd all be lying if we said we didn't have these thoughts when we were watching Brock last night. Is he good enough? Being better than Dak isn't the goal. Being better than Jimmy isn't the goal. There's a reason the Niners traded up for Trey Lance and brought in Brock to back him up.
Yeah.
Zach says, I think the 13 on his jersey is why his picks get dropped. Deja vu from last year. I'm hoping last night's game was tough because it was a rivalry.
Yeah. I tweeted out lucky number 13, and everyone was mad about it. Sorry, guys.
Dallas's defense was good. They were also on a short weekend. I think they just ran out of gas.
That's what
Josh Wyatt says it's alarming the Niners didn't blow them out. With all those opportunities in short fields, the O never put the game away like I thought they would. Yes, and there's a lot of – again, why? The book is out on this offense a little bit. Playoff Kyle showed up a little bit. Dude, if the Niners are going to struggle running the ball in the first half and they're not going to get Elijah Mitchell involved until they're going to have like identity crises on offense, which is I think they are a little bit right now. Who are they on offense? Are they a run first team? Are they a pass first team? Is it true that the players went to Kyle at halftime and like, can we run the damn ball? Did that happen? Someone said that happened.
Who reported that? I heard that. Who was that?
Kyle, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And that's what's great. McCaffrey's great, but he changed the identity of this offense. He changed it.
Yeah.
He's a finesse runner and a great receiver. Great player. But they had an identity. And now it's like, when do they get there? Second quarter? Third quarter?
Mitchell and CMC in the backfield together and then run Mitchell?
There's no rule against it.
Tackles? Like, can
you get Mitchell the ball before like the 2-minute drill? I'm sorry. Fernando. Sorry. Yeah. It's early, man. Stop making me sing that every time. YouTube is so random. I don't even remember why I sang it in the first place. Hero Winchester says that game felt like the Super Bowl. I feel so emotionally, physically drained. Purdy did okay, not his best game, but I'll take his worst over Jimmy's best. Yeah, he didn't turn the ball over. Jimmy did last year at the end, and he messed up the quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
Scott Short said no quarterback has done well in the playoffs as a rookie, not even Hall of Famers. Expectations too high. We're not writing him off. We love Brock Purdy. But I'm a big Brock Purdy fan.
He's a great guy, but
big Brock Purdy fan.
No rookie has won more than 2 playoff games. Ever. Right?
That's right. He's going for
So if he beats Philadelphia this weekend, he's the first to do it.
That's right. Juan Ortega says great win. You surprised me with knowing about Woody. LOL. Dude. What about 11-5-A1 Yola? Good album from start to finish. Well, I know what I'll be playing when I get my 12-inch sub back. Abu Marco 23 says final drive of the first half showed no confidence in Brock. Reminded me of how Kyle handled Jimmy in the end of the first half of the Super Bowl when he ran on the clock on himself. That was frustrating.
And then yelled at Brock for not throwing the ball out quick enough. Yeah, it seemed like.
Then they called that screen. They called that screen that stopped the clock.
Yeah, and his intention was to get 3. I don't understand that. You know, he just – it's that conservative stuff that's like, man, it's not going to work against Philadelphia. You got to be aggressive, Kyle.
I felt that Brock had a better performance in this game than Kyle did. I felt that Kyle was in his own head. He was – Dan Quinn took him out of his rhythm somehow, and the adjustment that Kyle made was Dak Prescott being Dak and the Dallas defense kind of, being gassed after round 6.
Yeah, Dak threw 2 interceptions in the first half. 49ers didn't score 1 touchdown. No run game at all. Quinn and the Cowboys were coming for Kyle in the first half.
Dude, that first interception from Dak, he just blindly threw the ball to his left across the field, like late in the down, like
awful.
What? I'm sorry. You're 29 years old, man. You've been in the I can't imagine. Man, that was some Jimmy G stuff right there. No offense to Jimmy. Yeah. But that was some terrible. What?
Yeah.
Like it's the kind of thing like people are like giggling in the press box, like, whoa, did that just happen?
Dak lost that game for those guys.
No question, man. Yeah. And the Niners have been feasting on these interceptions the last few games, but they're going to be going up against a quarterback next week who's thrown 6. James says Dallas radio guy jinxed Pollard, unfortunately. Oh, snap.
Yeah, I said that on my show this morning, actually. I mean, that
poor karma. Pollard, man. Poor Pollard. That was awful.
Yeah, it's awful.
Did he?
Man. Yeah.
Did he had like a Trey Lance injury? Damn. That guy was hella good.
Yep.
Hella good. Duper1 says this needs to be the year to win the Super Bowl. Mahomes is at 100%, and they play the Bengals, who are 0-3 against the Bengals versus Niners Super Bowl. Get it done, Kyle. Hold on. Don't overlook the Bengals, though. Like, the Niners have won 12 in a row. I think Cincinnati's won 10 in a row.
Second hottest team in the NFL.
I mean, they got the best weapons. I mean, if who has better weapons, Cincinnati or Philly? This is
From a
over.
receiving standpoint, I would say the Bengals.
They see the difference is Philly has a phenomenal O-line. Daniel Garcia says, calling you out on your Bosa take from yesterday. No sacks, but dude was consistently collapsing the pocket. He was a big cause of the picks thrown. I didn't say he was bad. I just said that he was un-Bosa. Yeah. The last 4 weeks, he hasn't been, dude. He never had a stretch like this where he had 1 sack in 4 games. He was going for the NFL record. Then he wanted the franchise record. Came up short. Now he's being like, sacks aren't everything. Miss me with that. Yeah. Come on, dog. You're the best player in the league. Something's going on. Are you hurt? I think you might be hurt. I think there's something going on. I'm not saying he's like dogging it. Of course he's not dogging it. Something's going on. Yeah. He's like 87%, 92%.
What was surprising about the defense yesterday is typically the 49ers defense goes how Bosa goes, but that wasn't the case yesterday.
Same thing with last year against Dallas. He missed the second half. They dominated anyway. Easios, and again, they had 1 sack in this game, and it was for no yard loss.
Did they
dominated anyway.
Is that a sack credit?
They called it a sack. They did call it a sack. Ezio says, hypothetically speaking, Purdy does well in this run and earns the starting job next season and plays well. Could it be worth it to sign him a year or 2 early for a discount and be set at quarterback long term? That's a lot of hypotheticals thinking. That's a lot of hypothetical, but he's not. No one's eligible for an extension before year 3, so they can't make that mistake. Sorry, they can't do that. They can't even think about that until 2020.
I thought it was funny that Mike Silver article that came out last week.
Yeah. Yep.
Before, like, basically it was nothing. It was like if Brock Purdy continues to play well, he's going to continue to start. If Trey Lance is better than Brock Purdy, he'll start. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Duh. Frankie HB says CMC ankle messed up. He said it's his calf. No, what'd he say? Hold on. His calf, right?
Calf, right? I thought it was.
He said his. Let me make sure. Calf injury. Calf. He said it's nothing. He's playing through it, but at the same time, he didn't look good in this game. And if he's less than 100%, that's not good either. And a calf injury sounds like overuse to me.
Use Mitchell. Damn it.
Please. I hate to be like the guy, be like, I said so, but I was complaining about the whole McCaffrey thing in the season. Like, man, you're overusing him. You can win in other ways. He's great. Playoffs coming up. God forbid. Well, hopefully he's okay. Jorge B, thank you for the $5. Arturo H, wouldn't the blueprint to beat Philly is do what Washington did? Philly 21 DVOA versus the run. Yeah, I think doing what Washington did would be a good start. Absolutely. Jason Lutz says, something I don't see mentioned, Purdy only had 2 3-and-outs and flipped field positions on a couple of stalled drives. He wasn't pretty, but gave the D rest. He was damn good. I gave him a B+. We're not trying to be negative here. I guess we're saying it's still a higher bar to win the Super Bowl. He hasn't won the Super Bowl yet. And even though it's a great story and he's a rookie and it's romantic and it's all of this stuff, this is a cold world. And it's either you do or you don't. You got it or you don't. And he hasn't answered that question yet. And I think it's fair to ask it.
And Jason, it's always good to rest the D on occasion. Sorry, bro. Sorry, it's too early in the morning for that one. My bad.
Brian says, remember the bump box Fernando video with Debo? I do. That was some of my best work ever. WB Studio says, Dak will Dak and Kyle will Kyle, LOL. I texted that to the coach mid-game. At the end of the first half, I was like, man, this is classic Kyle with his clock management. Like, what are you doing? What do you think is Philly's weakness? Oh, we'll get there. That's a topic. Wait, hold on. Yep. Hold on. Jimmy Ward played great. Can he cover Devontae Smith? He can cover anyone who's in the damn slot, I guess. I don't. Jimmy Ward is good, man. Like, Travarius Ward has totally lost his nerve. Diamador Lenoir's coming on. Diamador Lenoir. He gave up the long catch, but wow, man, he battles. Got to give him credit.
Yeah. Shout out
to
Lenoir,
give him credit.
Man.
Shout out to Lenoir.
You're doing great.
I love that. Paul Third says whole NFC East are frauds. They had 7 of the 10 worst defenses on their schedule and like 1 or 2 top 15 defenses not from their own division. Eagles having the Giants was like getting 2 buys. The whole NFC East are frauds. The Eagles are frauds.
There's 3 of them in the playoffs, and they all had to play each other twice.
Maybe they are frauds. I think Philly's pretty good. Bus 301 says, don't forget, Philly was limping into the playoffs. They beat NYG 2 games in a row, and now everyone thinks they're amazing. Seems fraudulent. They're frauds. Wow. Wow.
We'll see.
To me, this is two teams at the top of their games. But why do fans always have to do this? This team sucks. Nah, man. It's like this is what you're good. They're good. It's gonna be epic. Like, do you have to tear down the matchup before it happens? Isn't the matchup better if they're both good?
It's okay to like your team and give credit.
I don't understand.
It's okay to do that.
They've lost one game with Jalen Hurts. One. Yeah. I don't know, man. Justin says, "What songs you like from Eminem?" I'm not a huge Eminem fan.
So first of all, I'm not a big Eminem fan. I think he's one of the best vocalists. But as far as making music, like things you want to listen to, there's not many of them. But I Am is my favorite Eminem song by far.
My favorite Eminem song is My Name Is, followed by Guilty Conscience. I'm sorry. And I also like a couple D12 songs. I'll just say that. A couple D12 songs. Just a couple, though. That's enough. Sean O'Leary says, I'm always late, so apologies if you covered, but what's with the D-line? Teams scheming better to shut down Bosa and company, better O-lines, fatigue, all of the above. Well, I think it's partially they're trying to keep quarterbacks in the pocket. A lot of times you see a lot of bull rushes, which is what you do when you're not trying to give up the B gap. So maybe they're making adjustments, but they did give up three scrambles yesterday, and one of them was Bosa. It was Bosa. I saw it, Nick. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're tired. It's a long season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's injuries we don't know about. Maybe there's more than meets the eye. Anoop says
maybe they're not as good as we thought they were. That's another option as well. Bosa obviously is great, but is Armstead did Kinlaw playing again? I didn't even notice if he was in the game. I didn't see much from the D line, honestly, in that game.
Maybe they should let Drake Jackson play. What the fuck?
Yeah. Drake Jackson needs to get in the game.
Oh, yeah, like I understand having him inactive if like you're just getting 7 sacks a game with these guys, but you're not.
Yeah.
And I thought he was pretty good. Like, could you please play Drake Jackson? Can we start a petition?
And Philly's says O-line is really good.
Oh yeah, it is. Anoop says Kyle's game plan was vanilla. Where was the aggression? TDs instead of field goals and downfield throws into the end zone from the past games. Need 30 versus Eagles. Yeah, so okay. So this is Kyle, right? Like he kills me. He's good. But he has a game like this where the offense is terrible, 19 points, and they win. And you're sort of asking him like, so yeah, like it's kind of tough. Like what happened? He was like, yeah, this is what we expected. This is kind of the game we expected. It's like, whoa. You were expecting to score 19 points? Like this was the game plan to kick field goals? Yeah. It's like, ugh, like, why do you say that? Why would you even say that? I don't know. To me, that's ego. That's his ego. Like just
instead of settling for a field goal.
To me, that's just ego. It's like I can't say I didn't do well today. I can't say that.
Yeah.
Also, Nick Bosa. So I can't say that I didn't do my best today. I'm sorry. My ego won't allow me to say that on the record. So I'm sorry. It's what it is. It's a Cowboy cycle every year. Another Cowboy loss, another bang win for the Niner gang. How do you see Niners beating Philly? We're gonna get there. Affiliation. We just have to answer these questions first. Moonman says Grant on Ryan, that O-line was bad. That's one of the reasons it looks so bad. 71 held his 69 is a 71 held. 69 is a okay. He is a bad okay. We got play better. Where is Bosa? Bosa said he played really well. Bosa said he had his way with Tyron Smith. I think that was disrespectful. How many sacks did you have? Sven says, question for both of you. You had to pick the most intriguing player matchup versus Philly. Who is it? Oh, Bosa versus Jordan Mailata.
Jalen Hurts versus
the whole defense. The plaster coverage. Ezio Sanchez says, I blame Mariota if we don't make it to the Super Bowl. Laugh my ass off. Or Fields. Or Dante freaking Pettis. It's Dante Pettis' fault if they don't make it.
Or Hackett.
Armstead said he didn't want a roughing the passer. Oh, so is that why Armstead only has 1 sack this season? Because he didn't want a roughing the passer penalty. That's why. Fair enough. What he's thinking is if he just stays far enough and doesn't sack the quarterback, they can't flag him. That's true. That's a good point.
He seals the game if he just wraps him up. Just give Dak a big old hug. Tell him you love him. Seal the game. But that whatever he did there, that's not.
But how many roughing the passing penalties does Armstead have this year? 0? Joke's on you. Joke's on that's his style. Aisha Malik says, going to the NFC Championship game, super pumped. Do we have any idea of fan turnout projection? No, but the Niners always turn out. They do. That being said, I'm an idiot, and I waited until last night to book my plane tickets because I'm stupid. And
when are you going
expensive. Friday. taking all day. I got like a 12 o'clock flight, get in like around 8, 9. And then I come back. I got a 6 a.m. flight out, and I have to go through Chicago. So we'll probably have to do our show around 1. And that's assuming, that it's not snowed in Chicago when I make it out. So,
got it.
Yeah.
Phillies fans are crazy though, man. Got to give them credit.
Yeah. Mark Lamar says, Niner fans, please be like Dallas fans. Philly is good. Can Purdy improve arm strength over time? Yes. How much? I mean, he's not going to be like Trey Lance in terms of arm strength, but yes, you can. I'm trying to go quick through these so we can get back to our show because we're 35 minutes in and Kyle talks in 52 minutes. 2.0 says we'll come down to who can force more third and longs. If Hurts has to beat us from the pocket, we should win. If they are ahead and can run while Purdy is in obvious passing situations, we will be in trouble. Sure.
What worries me about third and long with Jalen Hurts is his ability to scramble. And, you saw Dak able to do it. And Jalen Hurts is a hell of a lot faster than Dak Prescott.
Jalen Hurts is like a bigger, better, younger. He's like a young Russell Wilson, but bigger. He's going to get out of the pocket. It's really hard to contain him. He can also run downfield, although his injury's kind of changing that right now. He can throw down the field. He's got a great deep ball. And he's accurate short. He's really good. He's not perfect, but he hits the Niners in all the ways they're vulnerable. All of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And his team is freaking loaded. Freaking loaded because he's over here making like $1.2 million a year.
Yeah.
Duper one, I just want to give you money now. Keep up the great work, QC. Has to be great this week. I like our roster better. 2 really, really well put together rosters. 2 best in the league. Poppy Chulo, do me a favor, Grant. Tell Purdy no pressure going forward. Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't get us this far. We as fans see this as a blessing to even be this far. Win or lose, won't be disappointed in this rookie. Okay, hold on. 2 things there. Yes, win or lose, won't be disappointed in Brock Purdy. 2, win the fucking Super Bowl. Hell no. Right. Super Bowl or bust. I don't want to hear that shit. No excuses.
There's a lot of
not
fans
Brock Purdy's fault they lose though. Sorry.
A lot of fans are happy with the NFC Championship game, and I'm just not one of those guys. I want to win a Super Bowl, period.
I'm also seeing too much stuff on Twitter being like, see, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. Like, whoa. Can we just wait until they cross the finish line before we start crowning him and anointing him and saying where he ranks in pantheons of great coaches? Like, it's not over. We've been in this situation multiple times with Kyle.
He's a very good, consistent coach.
Very good. Very good. The Wilson family says Gold had the biggest tackle of the game. Yeah, man, there were some moments. Gold's tackle, Trevon Diggs' drop pick. But on the other hand, there was Dre Greenlaw's drop pick. There's always moments. That's why I feel like when Niner fans like kind of go back and be like, could have been bigger, or could have done this, or this reference, like, you could do that all day. So I don't.
You could argue Gold was one of the MVPs of this game. The way he played, he played.
He's really clutch.
Yeah,
he's so clutch
and a big tackle.
Mattress Mac, $2 million down the train. I don't know what that means. Did someone named Mattress Mac bet on the game?
But I think at least $1 million on the Cowboys winning. Yeah,
dumb. Stephen Byer says Dallas with 5th in DVOA against run. Philly is 23rd. Okay, all right. Okay.
Well, hopefully the Cowboys not running.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. That is true. There is some opportunities there. Sean O'Leary says shifting to the other line. McGlinchey, I've seen enough of that guy being tossed around like a doll. Anyone else, please? Yeah, man, I said that like 4 years ago, but there are so many people, McGlinchey truthers out there. They're like, it's not fair. He does well all the time. Okay, fine. Hey, whatever. Everyone's seen it. Everyone has their own opinion. I don't want to argue Mike McGlinchey anymore. I know how I feel. Paul Third says, sound like the Eagles fans who were bragging about their easy strength of schedule in September. Now they feel disrespected when you remind them.
Well, strength of schedule is a projection in September. You understand strength of schedule at the end of the season, and 49ers strength of schedule was really easy.
I just think the fan trash talk before the games is just, it's not, I'm not a fan, so I just think it's lame how people are like, oh, your team sucked. No, your team sucked. We're going to beat you. Like, they're going to play. We'll see. I don't know. And then they're like, oh, you said you were going to win, but then you lost in your face. Like, okay. I don't get it. Moonman says, question is, are we going to have a spy on Hurts? They're going to have a damn plan that could work.
Yeah.
They can't let him just run like Dak. Dak is so slow. I'm so disappointed in Dak.
Yeah. Dak. Well, post-injury, pre-injury, he was
pretty good. Yeah. Caesar says BP was okay. Game shows you need a physically talented quarterback. One big run or throw breaks defense's backs. Run game was bad. Needed just a bit more from quarterback. Yeah, kind of. Although, again, that play rolling left, hitting Kittle, that was a huge play. That was a Patrick Mahomes-esque play. That's his ability. He's not a scrambler. He's not a great deep thrower. But his ability to extend plays is like really underrated. People nationally don't give him any credit for it. He's really good at it. He's really good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's calm. He sees the whole field. He does it every game. And they're big plays. This one, the kid will change the game. Been waiting since 95, 8th grade. F that Super Bowl or bust. I'm with you, man. I'm freaking with you. And I'm on Kyle. Figure it out. Like I know you got like the least physically gifted quarterback left in the tournament, but you got the best team. Figure it out. Maybe not the best team. Let's talk Trey Lance for a minute before we move on. So the Niners will be facing Jalen Hurts this week. What a success story. He was a second-round pick, didn't start right away, wasn't quite ready. Eagles developed him. Now he's an MVP candidate, as good as almost any quarterback in the league, and maybe a blueprint to what the Niners' backup quarterback, Trey Lance, could be given the right circumstances. Do you think there's some similarities between the two?
100%. Let's get it this way, Grant. Both these guys at age 22, okay? I'm not going to tell you who's who. Both quarterbacks at age 22. One was 54.9% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a QBR of 34.1. The other one, 52% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, QBR of 33.8.
Wow.
I mean, yes, to say they're not similar would be crazy. Almost identical. One of them's being labeled by some fans as a bust. One of them's having an MVP caliber season. So the guy with the lower QBR and the lower completion percentage is actually Hurts. Mm-hmm. So Lance and him are almost identical. Lance had a better slightly QBR, better slightly field goal percentage. What it shows you is, does this mean that Trey Lance is going to end up being as good as Jalen Hurts? No, it doesn't. But what it does say is that you can't judge a quarterback based on such a small sample size, because
when he's 22 or 21.
When you're 21, 22 years old, if you write off Jalen Hurts, you're missing out on an MVP caliber quarterback right now.
Right.
And I think that's what the lesson that people need to learn from Jalen Hurts in regards to Trey Lance.
Yeah, the reason he's such a success is that Philly believed in him. They didn't write him off early. They trusted the process, and they allowed him to grow with playing time. And by year 3, he was special. Now, the Niners have sort of put Trey Lance, they've just put the whole project on hold. It's like some of these years didn't happen. So I don't know what next year would be called. Is that year 3? No, it's kind of like year 2. But if he doesn't start, he's again on the back burner. But eventually, if the Niners feel like Brock Purdy isn't, what could happen with Brock Purdy is all that running around, he could get hurt, or his physical limitations lead to the league just getting a really good book on what to do against him, and maybe the luck turns, and maybe he starts throwing a lot of picks. Who knows? There could be a need for Trey Lance in the future, and at that point, he could be better. And again, look at the quarterbacks who were left. They're all like Lance in terms of skill set. I mean, obviously, they're much more accomplished than Lance, but that's what the Niners were going. That's what the Niners were thinking they could develop with Lance. They never thought they could develop Brock Purdy into that. When they drafted Brock Purdy, I'm sure Kyle went to their scouts and was like, "Look, can we get kind of like a Nick Mullins-y type as a backup late in the draft? Maybe after the draft." And they're like, "All right, we'll see what we can find. Like, we got a guy." That's what they're looking for, and of course, he's exceeded those expectations. He looks like a day 1, day 2 pick right now. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? But still, that's the whole idea. You want Jalen Hurts.
At the end of the day, man, Brock Purdy's just a gamer. He's a playmaker, a gamer. He's got the mental part that you want from a quarterback. He's composed. He's confident. Those are all great things. But he doesn't have the skill sets of those top-notch quarterbacks that we're talking about. And Trey Lance has it. Now, whether he ends up being good or not, like Jalen Hurts, I have no idea. Somebody hit me on my Twitter and says, "I love Trey Lance like Ryan Hensley loves Trey Lance." Let me tell you something. I don't love any NFL players. I love my wife and my kids. I just hate the hate that Trey Lance gets based on such a small sample size. That's all I.
Yeah, it's crazy too. It's like it's not just football watchers. It's Niner fans and national media people and local media people that are so eager to bury his career at 22 after 4 stars, which is so weird. So it feels like he almost deserves certain advocates because he has so few.
Yeah.
But real quick, the thing about Jalen Hurts, like we don't know about Trey, but with Jalen Hurts can do everything Brock Purdy can do. He can throw the short passes. He can throw the quick. He can extend plays. But there's more he can do. He's got a better deep ball. He can actually scramble down. He's a legit rushing threat. He'll rush for touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like Brock Purdy can't do all of those things, and Mahomes can. Burrow can. Josh Allen can. And Trey Lance theoretically maybe could one day if he were developed properly. And again, the Niners have to decide whether it's they need to do that with him. Whether they need a quarterback who's that talented.
I mean, Jalen Hurts went from having the same, almost identical stats as Trey Lance to this year, 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, missed 2 games, only 6 interceptions, 760 yards rushing with 13 rushing touchdowns. Like he's having an MVP caliber season. So my point has always been just be patient with Trey Lance before you make a judgment on him. And the reason why I defend him all the time is because I think the hate is irrational. It doesn't make sense to me. So that's why.
Also, he's played he played in relief against Seattle early in the season, early in his career. He started in Arizona when the team was banged up and Arizona was good. There was no Elijah Mitchell, no Kittle. He had a broken finger. He started late in the season against Houston, looked really good. Then he comes back this year, first couple of games, the whole offense is disjointed, he gets hurt. I think it's important to remember that Brock got to play at the end of the year. The offense was clicking. Jimmy was having the best stretch of his career. They added Christian McCaffrey. They were getting healthy. And to their own admission, they don't really participate in preseason. They don't even know what they want to do on offense until the bye week. Brock Purdy kind of benefited from his timing, and I think it's no coincidence that Trey Lance's best performance came when the offense was clicking at the end of a season. So,
yeah, and all those things that you talked about with Jalen Hurts being able to do everything on the field, he was not able to do that as a rookie, right? He had a 52% completion percentage. He couldn't make the throws as a rookie. He was 22 years old, like Trey Lance is now. People just need to give it a chance to see what happens with Trey Lance. Maybe he won't be good, but maybe he will be. That's the only point I've been trying to make for the last year.
And Brock Purdy hasn't shown enough, really, until he wins a Super Bowl, to say that you don't need a quarterback who's a little bit more physically gifted than that.
Yeah,
he hasn't. Great story though. Damn good player. Not a backup. Not a backup. A damn good starting quarterback. But I don't know if you win a Super Bowl with a damn good starting quarterback. You might need a great one.
We'll see.
You might need a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be able to do it. We'll see.
Maybe. Purdy and Hurts played each other in college 42-41. Wow. Was that Iowa State, Oklahoma? Well, maybe that's what we're going to get on Sunday.
Hurts won, I think, right?
I think so. Centennial G says, be honest, who you got in WrestleMania, McGlinchey or Parsons? Parsons might rock bottom this guy next time around. If it looked like a rock bottom, didn't it? It was a rock bottom.
Parsons.
You called Ray Ray's inevitable fumble months ago. Oh, man. I could feel that one coming. Hopefully got out of the way. I could feel that one coming. Glory says, I feel like the outside run game was lacking. Running backs were cutting back up too soon. Eli breaks a long one on his first toss. Running backs should trust their speed. I feel like the Niners, again, it's a finesse running game with McCaffrey. You're trying to get to the outside against a light defensive line. Like get Mitchell in there, run it up the middle. That's what you did at the end. That's what you did in the second half. Out of the last 4 teams, who has the best defense?
Dallas.
Last 4 teams.
Oh, I thought you meant the last 4 games. The 49ers?
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, who's better?
I still want to see them against a team against a quarterback who just doesn't poop his pants, as Poopy Pants would say. I like the show, but crazy you didn't like Purdy CMC trade and wanted to trade Kittle. Should we expect this from QC moving forward? Come on, do better. I did great this year. I did a phenomenal job. I gave myself an A+ for my work. Didn't like Purdy. Yeah. CMC trade? Yeah. I didn't like the CMC trade with Jimmy as the quarterback. Didn't know about Purdy. But neither did Kyle, to my credit. And I wanted to trade Kittle. Yeah, I wanted to trade him a year too early. I said it was a year too early. He's doing great, though. And also, Kittle's playing well because I said they should trade him. So I get credit for that. That's how it works. It's all reverse psychology. You never know how the method to my madness, but it works. Look, 12 games in a row they've won. You can't argue with results. 2.0 says, in fairness, the hype is just as irrational as the hate. He hasn't done anything to justify picking him at 3 and giving up those picks. It says 2.0.
What's the hype?
So cut him.
Hype.
Yeah. So cut him. Justin Lee says play calling was bad last night. Felt like Kyle was just trying to outclass Quinn instead of calling plays that worked. Also, can we get a touchback? Yeah, let's rediscover the touchback. Yeah, Kyle was in his own head. Frankie HB says if quarterback competition happens with Kyle's current offensive scheme in the offseason, who wins? Seems like BCB fits the current scheme better than Trey Lance, but Trey Lance opens up for more. I just don't see how I feel like Lance is going to have to wait for an opportunity. I don't know how you can win. Maybe they'll have a quarterback competition. Do teams have those anymore? Like legit quarterback competitions?
Not really.
Do they happen?
But I also think it's.
Are there enough reps? I feel like that's the kind of thing from the 80s when they're two-a-days. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's enough reps in the day.
Well, everything's going to be flipped now. It'll be Purdy against the if he does come in as a starter, Purdy against the top defense, the number one defense. Trey would be against the second team defense. So it's really hard to judge that way as well. I think it almost benefits Trey Lance if, he doesn't come in as a starter, because I think the fan base has already shown that they're pretty harsh on him. They really like Brock Purdy. So does the team. So, if Brock Purdy, 83% of the time the backup quarterback comes into play for the 49ers since Kyle Shanahan took over. So there's a good chance Trey Lance will get a shot at that point, and I think that would be an easier situation for him.
Do you think this was DeMeco Ryans' best performance yet? I mean, this offense of Dallas was scoring lots of points, and they scored freaking 12. Not 13.
Not 12 of them. It's my favorite number, by the way. It's my lucky number. Okay. Yeah, it's real relevant. Absolutely, I do. And I have a theory as to why. It's kind of a weird one. But let me tell you why I think it was his best performance and why I think it may have happened. So I think it was his best performance because you saw creativity in his game plan.
Yeah.
You saw him showing blitz, backing off.
Them working. The blitz is working. Yeah. Him getting unblocked rushers. Yeah, he did a good job. Yeah. He did.
He had blitzes. He had Hufanga coming up the middle, Hufanga coming to the side, Ward coming off the side.
Blowing up plays.
Yeah. Things we haven't seen. They showed blitz a lot and then dropped back in coverage.
Loved it.
It was fantastic, man. So shout out to DeMeco. Now, here's my theory, man. Last week, I was concerned with DeMeco taking all these interviews. Now I'm like, I wonder if these interviews helped him get in his bag defensively, right? Because when you're preparing for these interviews, when you're having these interviews, they're asking you all kinds of questions about your defense and everything. And I was a coach. It's kind of a refresher in his mind, or the other, so maybe it helped him, or it's just he was saving it for the playoffs against a good team like the Cowboys. Here's
how I interpreted it. First of all, he canceled 2 of them. Yeah. He kind of met people halfway on this. It's like, okay, 4 is a lot. But at the same time, I think he's good. And I think he feels like he doesn't get the credit he deserves for a lot of reasons. Yeah. And so he's like, hold on. Like, people are questioning me? Like, hold on, dude. I have the number 1 defense for a reason. How are you? Okay, so he, had a little bit of chip on his shoulder. He's an athlete. He's risen to the challenge over and over again throughout his life, and he did it again. It brought out the best in him. People are, because no one questions DeMeco Ryans. He's great. He's great. And this week was like, does he know what he's doing? He's like, do I know what I'm doing? Do I have to show you again? Yeah. Okay, I'll show you. So yes, but I just want to say though that 2 things went his way. And I won't say went his way, but Tony Pollard's injury changed the game, and it was not a fortunate thing. It's awful what happened to Tony Pollard. I feel terrible, and what those Dallas radio people said about McCaffrey last week was awful. I feel terrible for Pollard. That changed the game and made Ryan's job different. Also, Dak, dude, he just does that. Now the Niners had him scouted, and they defended him the right way, but freaking Dak, dude,
Dak is
so mediocre. He's a gift. Yeah. He was the best player in the Niners yesterday. Dak Prescott. Yeah. He was their MVP. Game ball, Dak Prescott. Thank you very much. They should have walked that ball over to him. Signed it. Yeah. Whole team. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Diomedor Lenore should have went up to him after the game, be like, could you sign this, man? It was so nice picking you off. Thank you. Fred Warner.
Well, the number 1 defense in takeaways going against the quarterback who has the most giveaways and didn't even play 5 games. It's like, perfect. Thank you. And then when Pollard goes down, unfortunate for him, hopefully makes a full return, but I'm pretty sure Pollard was on the top of the board for the defense all week. This is the guy that we got to stop. And when he went out, there goes the best player on the Cowboys offense. And so, I absolutely, if Pollard doesn't go out of the game, it's a different game.
It's true.
I don't know.
We're talking about DeMeco's best performances. I thought this might be his best performance since the last time he faced Dallas. He owns Dallas. He kicked the crap out of Dallas last year, held him to 17 last year, and then won up that this year with 12. Freaking 12. So, yes, that being said, next week's challenge is bigger. And if DeMeco does it again if he holds Philly to under 20 points, that's a bigger accomplishment. And again, if he gets Kansas City in the Super Bowl, like Andy Reid took him to school a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. So that would be bigger too. So beating Kellen Moore, DeMeco is better than Kellen Moore. Better than Dak, better than Kellen Moore. I love it. But the next one challenge is bigger.
Jalen Hurts is not Dak Prescott.
Jalen Hurts isn't going to just give the game away like Dak does.
Right.
He
could win the game.
You know you need a new quarterback when people say Dak gonna Dak and everyone knows what that means.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that means something really bad happened. And stupid. Like unnecessarily, like mind-numbingly bad is Dak gonna Dak that moment. If you say Jalen Hurts gonna Hurts, that means probably good. Something good.
Yeah.
Something really good. Yeah. Michael says people got to realize with where they finished the last 2 years, the first-round picks they gave up were almost second-round picks. That is true. That is a good point. Michael Rowland. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. That's true. The first one was kind of high, but the next two aren't. All right, hold on.
And the first one was really just a swap. It wasn't really a loss.
That's a good point. Okay, Michael Rowland got you. Moving on. Let's talk Philly. Philly is damn good. Lost one game this season with Jalen Hurts. What do you think makes them such a dominant team?
Well, they're just good in almost every way. I mean, they have very few weaknesses. They might have one weakness, but they're just really good. They lead the NFL in sacks. They have possibly the best offensive line in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. They got a ton of weapons. They have a great rushing game. They got good defensive backs in the backfield. I mean, they're just good. They're probably them and the 49ers are the best roster in the NFL. So that's what makes them good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go through it systematically. Like they have their offensive line. Like they could win the battle of the trenches against the Niners D line. They have the All Pro center, Jason Kelsey. They have the best center in the league. They have the best right tackle in the league in Lane Johnson. This last game they gave up no sacks against the Giants with I think one. Jalen Hurts, he's good, but at the same time he's just standing there.
Yeah,
he's just freaking standing. Teams don't have offensive lines like this. It's big,
long.
It's strong, it's good at the run, it's good in the pass. Yeah. So that's a good place to start. It's like it makes them unique. Yeah. Much better offensive line than Dallas. That offensive line was getting caved in most of the game.
Yeah. And
then on the other hand, like their defensive line is even freaking better.
They're winning the battle of the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that's what you
weekly.
Want. That's where you win the games, right? And they're really good. That's why that's why they're good. They've got a great roster.
I'm trying to see like how many sacks they have. Is it 70?
I believe it's 70.
It's freaking. It's like.
They lead the NFL by like 15 sacks.
They have 70 sacks.
It's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, let's. Okay, so they got Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick has 16. Javon Hargrave has 11. Josh Sweat has 11, and Brandon Graham has 11. Fletcher Cox has 7. Is he healthy? I don't even know.
I don't know. I have to check
anyway, so as good as they are on the offensive line, they're even better on the defensive line. And that means you saw it in this last game. Like when there's lots of threats, you can't help McGlinchey. He's going to have moments like that. And Spencer Burford could have moments where he's going against Javon Hargrave, who's bigger, older, stronger, better at this point. I mean, there's going to be moments. Last week, in this game against Dallas, there was just pressure up the middle instantly, a lot. These guys have better D tackles than Dallas, so I don't know, man. Pressure can be an issue.
They have to establish the run, no question. Don't BS around. Get Elijah Mitchell involved early. That's going to be the key to winning this game.
Okay, so great D line, great O line, and then on offense they have great skill players. Like Miles Sanders, let's go through it. Like Miles Sanders had 1,300 yards from scrimmage and 11 touchdowns. That's their running back. Okay, their receivers, they got Devontae Smith, who had almost 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. They got A.J. Brown, who had almost 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns. They have Dallas Goedert, who had 700 yards. That's a lot for a tight end. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, that's better than Dallas. And then they have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who has lost one game this year. He has thrown for 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns. He has rushed for, 760 yards and 13 touchdowns. And he's only thrown 6 picks all season. So he's not one to just beat himself. This team doesn't beat itself, and they beat other teams up. It is quite a good matchup for the 49ers. Yeah. Well, that's what makes this Philly so good. They're freaking loaded.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts has 35 touchdowns between passing and running. 760 yards. I was trying to pull it up. For some reason, it's not working, but he'd be like, what, the second best rusher on the 49ers right now?
Yeah.
It's just insane how good that guy is. You got the best offensive line, one of the best defensive lines, if not the best, at least in sacks. Maybe not against the run. You got Jalen Hurts, who's playing at an MVP level. He can run the ball on you. He can pass the ball on you. You got all these weapons at receiver. They have a good defensive back unit on defense. They really only have one area where you might want to call it a weakness.
Well, let's get into that right now. Where is Philly vulnerable? Because every team is vulnerable somewhere. The Niners have to find those places and exploit them mercilessly.
Yeah. There's 2 areas. One is against the rush. Their defensive line is great, but it's better against the pass than the rush. Like, it's better at getting pressure. So they definitely got to establish the run. But they're similar to the Cowboys to where if there is a weakness on their defense, it's their linebackers. So the 49ers could attack the middle of the field, go after the linebackers. Maybe George Kittle is key. Because besides that, there's really not much. It's really – this game, I think a lot of it's just going to come down to coaching. Because there's not a lot of weaknesses on Philly, on the Eagles. So it's going to be a lot of coaching. They're going to have to establish the run. They're going to have to attack those linebackers and keep Brock Purdy out of 3rd and long because that pass rush is coming.
I just think it's interesting. Like, I thought they were going to do this to Dallas. I was like, man, Dallas, these linebackers, they can't cover McCaffrey. McCaffrey's going to go for like 100 yards in the air. It didn't happen. And what Dan Quinn did was just flood the middle of the field with safeties and play zone coverage and robber schemes. And like that just kind of takes away the effectiveness of McCaffrey. And so what I think the Niners started doing was they were really attacking that cornerback, Deron Bland, 26, over and over. Remember that? Over and over and over and over again. And it worked. It just required a little bit more pass protection. And I think they can go after the nickelback for Philly, because they got good corners on the outside, Slay and Bradbury, but in the slot they got Josiah Scott, who's a guy 5'9". Yeah. I think that's going to be Kyle's guy. He's going to be going after him a lot. But again, you got to block to get the ball down the field. So really, what they need to do is run the damn ball. Because I still don't understand how it took Kyle that long to figure out that he needed to actually get Elijah Mitchell in the game and get their old identity back. We all knew that was the key to beating Dallas. Hey, Dallas can't stop the run. Be physical. I was sitting next to Patrick Willis during the game. I wasn't going to live tweet what Patrick was saying, but it's like he's sitting there like, dude, why are they not dictating with their running game? Like, why are they not being physical with their running game? Like Dallas is. Patrick couldn't freaking believe it. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, just dominate them. Because he played with Fangio and Harbaugh. Like Harbaugh wouldn't wait until the third quarter to punk someone like that. That's what they did. Kyle's over here being cute for a half, and Patrick's like, what? What? And then they did it, and I was like, right, that's okay. There it is.
And not only that,
sorry, Patrick. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is not Dak Prescott, so you need to keep the ball out of his hands as much as you can, and you're going to do that by running the ball. Controlling the clock, because if you give Jalen Hurts the ball, he's not going to throw 2 interceptions. Most likely, he can score quickly. You want to keep him off the field. Running the ball it's good because it's maybe the possible weakness on the
best defense. Well, right? It's the best. It's Niners' best defense too. Running the ball, right. Ball control.
It's the best offense.
Unless you really think Brock Purdy is going to outduel Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, just dropping back and throwing. Unless you think he's going to do that.
I just don't think he's going to do it. If it's a shootout, I think we lose that game. And I don't think we need to let it be.
You can't have that game plan. You can't just be like, oh, man, let's go. We're going to – because, Kyle – what did Kyle say? I kind of expected this kind of a game. You can't expect the Niners to win 42-41 against the Eagles. You got to try to keep the ball away from the Eagles' offense and keep them off the field. But one more thing that Philly – pardon?
3 times in the first half. How many times was Brock sacked?
Yeah, at least 3, I think. Yeah, 3. That sounds right.
The Eagles are going to – if they don't improve that, Eagles could do 5-6 if they don't improve it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So where Philly's vulnerable, one more thing. Jalen Hurts, great player. He is coming off a fairly serious shoulder injury, and he got the injury running. And while he clearly is throwing the ball very well right now, doesn't seem like he is the same runner. I don't know whether he's protecting himself or he has a little bit less burst or whatever, but he doesn't seem like he's necessarily the same threat like to break off long explosive runs the way he was earlier in the year. Still, he can extend plays, get out of the pocket, that kind of stuff. So just him run. I don't know how aggressive he'll be with that. So, okay. So what do the Niners need to do to win this game?
The Eagles ran 268 yards against the Giants. They're not going to be able to do that against the 49ers, but that does show you that they have a solid run game. So I think the 49ers got to establish a run and just out physical these guys, go after the linebackers. And Kyle's going to have to call a perfect game, and that's going to be key.
Yeah, so Kyle calling a perfect game, he did not do that in this last game. They won in spite of Kyle in a lot of ways. So he needs to commit to the run early. Remember what his identity is. Don't try to get in a shootout with the Eagles because they'll lose that. They got to figure out a way to solve this traffic jam that's kind of building up in the Niners against the Niners offense. Like teams are putting 5 on the defensive line, flooding the middle of the field and saying, dude, we don't respect Brock Purdy's arm. Yeah. Or we don't, what I'm saying? Like, or your pass protection. So we're taking away this run game. We're going to make Brock Purdy, we're putting the game in Brock Purdy's hands and we're not letting him throw here over the middle. What are you going to do? And so they got to figure this out. There are solutions, but most of them involve blocking well for a while. So let's see if the Niners can do that.
Yeah, it's gonna be key, man. It's gonna be tough. I don't know how I feel about this game yet. I never predict until Friday before the game, but right now I'm kind of like 50-50.
I mean, the Niners can win if they do all the things we say, but I don't know. Yeah. It's gonna be tough if they win this game. It's gonna be one of the bigger accomplishments, non-Super Bowl victories in franchise history.
Yeah,
like one of the biggest wins. That's not a championship in franchise history. If they win this one,
this is to me the Eagles are the best team that the 49ers are going to face, even if they make it to the Super Bowl. Now they're going to have to face some top-notch quarterbacks if they make it to the Super Bowl, whether it's Burrows or Mahomes. But as far as the best team, this Eagles team is the best team that they're going to face all year.
And what makes them so strong, we're talking about their vulnerabilities, is the fact that they have a quarterback who's not going to give the game away. He's the best quarterback the Niners have faced since Mahomes. Better than Tua, better than Brady, better than Dak. He's probably not going to lose the game on his own, which means the Niners, they've been really taking advantage of mediocre to bad quarterbacks who lose the game. I mean, the Raiders put up a fight until Jarrett pulled a Jarrett Stidham in the overtime. You know what I mean? Jared gonna Jared. So now they're not in that situation anymore. They have to actually play their best game. And they haven't done it in a while, man. They haven't done it they play their best game on offense, defense, and special teams to win this game. And that's why I've been like kind of a downer after the last 2 games. Like, yeah, a win's a win, a playoff game, but like that effort, it's not good enough. It's not what it takes to beat Philly. Look what Philly did against the Giants. Put them away in the second quarter, cruised. They're humming. They're healthy. They're rested because they took care of business. And the Niners can take care of business this weekend too if they do all the things we say. They got to get to Hurts. The weak link on the Eagles offensive line is their left tackle. He's a better run blocker than pass protector Jordan Mailata. Bosa's got to have a big game. Yeah. So that's on Bosa. It's on DeMeco. DeMeco, you got to figure it out. Bosa, you got to figure it out. You can't have another quiet game where you say, I was good.
And this
is it.
They got to win all 3 levels, and there has to be a couple big plays, turnovers, or like some kind of big explosive play because this is going to be a tough game, man. Like, and Ray fumbling can't happen. And they got to do it on the other side. Special teams is going to have to win. It has to be the perfect game. Kyle Shanahan's going to have to dial up the perfect game plan, and it's going to be interesting, man. I've called W's for the 49ers the last 12 games. I don't know about this one yet. I'm 50-50 at the moment.
You just can't count on Philly's offense to just give the ball away and hand the 49ers great field position like every team has been doing with Brock Purdy since he's been here. What's probably going to happen is both teams are going to have to work long drives, convert on third down, convert in the red zone. It's going to be a really hard game with probably very little field flipping mistakes.
Yeah.
These teams don't make a lot. Brock doesn't make mistakes. You could say he's been getting a little lucky, but ball got tipped. Like, he's not like Jimmy where he's just throwing the ball to linebackers and saying, hey, YOLO. Like, he has gotten a little lucky. Quarterbacks do, but he actually takes care of the ball very well. So does Hurts. This is going to be a grueling game where I feel like neither team's going to lose it. Someone's going to have to win it. And the Niners are on the road with one last day to prepare, going against a team that's loaded. So, hey, they can win it. They're going to have to play their freaking best, and that was not what they did yesterday. It wasn't what they did last week. When was the last time they played their best? Their best. I mean, maybe against a team like Tampa, but play it. Mexico, but that's Arizona. This is different. Yeah. Again, if they haven't done this yet, this is a whole new test, and if they win this one, probably going to win the Super Bowl. They're probably going to win the Super Bowl.
I think so. Well, Patrick Mahomes.
I don't want to go. Let's take it one game at a time. Let's take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
Because, players get hurt. You never know what happens. Things change. But, man, it's going to be exciting. Let's go through the last of them. This is for a pop screen for your mic so it doesn't keep blowing out while you're a speaker. Thank you. $5. I'll get one. Someone check on Dallas fans. They down bad right now. The fan thing, man. It just seems like, I don't know.
My neighbor's a Cowboys fan. He avoids me for like 3 weeks after these games. I won't see him for a while. He literally avoids me, like ducks me. I'm like texting him like, man, how about them Cowboys? He won't respond. It's awesome.
Black Pill Phil says, don't go to Gino's Pats or Tony Luke's for your Philly cheesesteak. Go to D'Alessandro's, John's Roast Pork, or Gooey Louie's. See, that's the thing. Last time I was there, I was like, I want to get a cheesesteak. And my cousin was like, don't do this or that. Get a roast pork. And I got a roast pork, and it was like dry. It was pork and broccoli rabe and no cheese, and it was dry. And I was like, man, I flew all the way to Philadelphia to get what I didn't want. And I was so disappointed. I'm like, next time I'm getting a damn Philly cheesesteak. So this is what they tell you in Philly, man. They're like, don't get the cheesesteak, get this. And then you get it and you're like, man, is this some like sick joke that locals play on the out-of-towners? What is that?
Yeah, we got to hit a Philly cheesesteak in Philly. Like, what?
No, but hold on. He said, no, I missed it. What did he say? So he said, don't go to Gino's, Pats, or Tony Luke's. Okay, I won't go to Gino's, Pats, or Tony Luke's.
Go to Gooey Louie.
D'Alessandro's. Okay. Can I go to D'Alessandro's and get a cheesesteak, though, and not I don't want to get a roast pork. I got the roast pork. I wasn't feeling the roast pork. It was dry.
Gooey
Teams
Louie.
beat our Matthew Sanders says teams beat our passers by letting them penetrate and using the aggression against our own selves, our damn selves. Can we do that to Philly? A little rope-a-dope. I think that's what they do against the Niners because it's a wide nine. The whole thing with the Niners is like fast flow. Just flow to the ball. Everyone swarms. So the teams that do the best against the Niners, Andy Reid, are teams that are heavy in misdirection. Team and assignment football. Option. And that's Philly. Because when you run the zone read, you can't flow to the football. You have to do your assignment. If you flow to the football, you will fuck up and give up long runs. So when Dallas had success on that one long drive, they had a bunch of motions, a bunch of misdirections. It's what you have to do every fucking play against the Niners defense. Otherwise, they will swarm to the ball and punk you. Only guy who really does a good job of it is Andy Reid, but he's the best. He's the freaking best, other than Kyle at that misdirection stuff. Mm-hmm. Fish and Chip says Eagles had one of the easiest schedules all season. So did the Niners. Difference is the Eagles didn't lose to Chicago, Atlanta, and freaking Denver. Denver was the third one. Oh, hold on. If we win this game, it will be because of Kyle. And if they lose the game, it will be because of Kyle, too. That's the thing with the head coach. Adam Gardner says, enjoy watching you guys all the time. Answer this correctly, and you will know if Brock is the future. Could a fully healthy Patrick Mahomes done much better yesterday with our O-line and wideouts not open?
I'm going to say yes. Patrick Mahomes? Yes. Sorry.
I think
It's
Jalen
Patrick
Hurts would have
Mahomes.
done better yesterday too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a shot on Brock Purdy to say that Patrick Mahomes is better. That's just
How
true.
fucking dare you? Gunzy says, did anyone notice the triple teams on Bosa yesterday? Bosa won his matchup almost every play and was met by 1-2 more guys immediately. Hopefully Philly don't do the same. Go Niners. Well, again, that goes back to DeMeco. DeMeco, you have the best player in football. You can't let him get neutralized. That's your job. It's your job. AJ Brown and Devon, I mean, you don't do that. No offense, but it's a vanilla scheme. You do a lot, but you don't do a lot schematically. And you did something schematically in this game. The blitzes worked. Now you got to free up Bosa against Philly to beat Philly. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are a problem. AJ single-handedly beat SF last year. Yes, he is.
Yeah. Huff and Gibson cannot be aggressive in this game. They got to help out Lenore and Ward with those two guys.
Jimmy Ward will be headhunting Hurts. Don't run it. Well, don't get a late hit, Jimmy. Biggest third down conversions were out of empty sets in the fourth, and Purdy didn't miss. Maybe the moment will be too big next week, or maybe not. Hey, I never said the moment was too big for Purdy. Definitely never questioned that. It's the skill set. That's the question with Purdy. Same reason he was the last pick in the draft. I mean, that's always going to be the question with Purdy. David, according to national media, Cowboys lost to Jugs Machine and a bunch of tackling dummies who had nothing to do with their own victory. Yeah, it's so weird. When you watch the ESPN, they just don't talk about the Niners. In games that they win, they talk about the team that lost. They did it last year. I remember I was in Dallas. They did it last. Dallas lost. All the conversation was about their season is fucking over. They're not that good. That's again why my YouTube channel does so well, because people want to talk about the Niners.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
American
Jalen Hurts
team.
isn't Montana, says Sean. No, he's Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Neither is Brock
Different.
Purdy, apparently. RS says, hey, Grant, can someone tell Shanahan to stop all these fancy-looking formations? Just line up in 21 personnel. That's what I'm saying, man. In the first half, it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're better than Dallas. Line up and play football, man, which is what they did in the second half.
Wasn't it first play was a CMC comes out of the backfield, goes to the slot. Debo comes back to the backfield. Yeah, like first play.
Woo! Dude, just line up and play, please. Thank you, RS. That's exactly how I felt watching this game. Right. You really have to be tricky because it's Dan Quinn over there. Like, are you impressing him? Are you trying to impress him? Legendary Answer says, this game will come down to coaching. I don't see the Eagles coaches out-coaching playoffs. Shanny, Niners by 3. We will see our true number one defense again. That absolutely could be the case. Certainly. Hey, someone said earlier if the Niners win, it's going to be because of Kyle. It's true. You could argue that if these teams played each other 10 times under these circumstances in Philly, with that, Philly more rested, that Philly should win 6, 7 times out of 10, 8 times. But there's that scenario where the Niners win.
I mean, hypothetical. If the Niners have to go see Dallas in Dallas and Pollard doesn't get hurt,
that's a different game. But at the same time, it's Dak. Look at your quarterback. It's the same thing. This is how I came to feel about Jimmy. It's like, dude, he's the quarterback. He's too important. He's not good enough. He makes too many mistakes. He's too expensive. All of it. Like, they got a huge problem in Dallas. Now, I guess a lot of teams have problems, but when you have this combination of quarterback's not good enough and he's expensive, like, oh my God. And you're locked into him for many years, you're Denver now. Good luck.
That's why you don't commit to quarterbacks early and you don't pay them unless you absolutely have to, unless they're top 5. Yeah.
It's kind of like the housing market, I want to say. It's like people spending $4 million for a 2-bedroom house. It's like, yo. You might want to rent for a while. That's a bad investment. I know you like the area and the school system, but I don't think you should spend $4 million on this 2-bedroom house. It's a bubble. It's going to come back down to earth. Wrong strength of schedule. Eagles 2nd, Niners 13th, Eagles -12 in 2022. Well, I guess that means the Eagles are frauds and the Niners can just walk in, take them lightly, and cruise to a victory. I think that's what they're going to do. That's the game plan this week. Hey, here's what Kyle's going to say when he comes out. This team fucking sucks. They're not that good. What we're going to do is take them lightly, screw around, and just turn it on at the end of the game. Yeah. What do you guys say? Team on 3. That's how you do it.
You know what's funny about some fans is they look at the things we say as negative.
Yeah.
But I bet you anything, Kyle Shanahan is saying things closer to what we're saying than what some of you guys are saying.
Yes. Kyle just steals my material anyway. How do you think he has such good speeches? Quality control.
Yes.
Justin says, if this is the best Brock is second tier, is it not good enough? Hypothetical, do you let a known great commodity at a chance? No. Is it good enough? We'll find out in the next 3 weeks.
It's the question.
And if it's not, then that's why Trey Lance is here. And that's why you don't get rid of him. Because the goal is to win the Super Bowl and the team is ready. And it's not Brock's a sentimental story, but at some point it's gotta be no sentiment. Is he good enough? Is this it?
Haven't had a top 5 quarterback since Steve Young.
That is true. I want to say
Garcia.
Go back and look at Jeff Garcia.
Cap?
Like he had
Cap for a year.
Like Garcia 2001 was early in Peyton Manning's career. Brady wasn't really on the scene yet. It was him.
Oh boy.
It was him, Favre, McNabb, McNair, Warner. Yeah. Those were and Peyton Manning. So he was borderline. I'm just saying. Passing numbers weren't what they were back then.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cap maybe
I like Garcia.
Cap maybe was for the 1 year.
To be fair, he had T.O. He did have T.O.
Yeah,
T.O. was
killing it.
He did have T.O. Eric Romero says, Grant, you don't understand how much crap Dallas fans talk. The most annoying fan base when they do nothing but choke. Who cares how much crap they talk? Their team is a joke. And they know it. What's the funniest thing about Dallas is you go to their airport and you walk around and there are pictures of 25-year-old Emmitt Smith all over. Like it's 1993. They are really living in the past over there. Errol Tolbert says, being that the Eagles struggled against NO and Washington, should we feel better about our defense chances? Didn't the Niners struggle against NO?
Yeah, and Washington's, that's a division opponent. I don't know.
Yeah. They also beat Washington, right?
I believe, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kyle just said CMC, Amenahue, and Mitchell are day-to-day. Wait, what? What? He said they're going to start at 10. At 12. What? Did they change the thing? Oh. 11:30. They always do that.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Sorry, dude. That's whack. We were supposed to do
that.
We were supposed to go to 11. You moved it so you could catch the press conference at 12, and then they moved it to 10:30.
Ooh, man, I'm like James Brown right now. I'm mad. I'm mad. Damn. It was a Kyle. He'll be like, it's like game plan. It's like the late shift at the end of right before the play. It's like, okay, schedule comes out. We're gonna do a conference call at 12, and then like an hour before, it's like actually 11:30. It's like, oh damn.
You know why?
Me. Why?
I saw you.
You want me?
On YouTube.
Yeah,
so
they
switched it up.
Yep. Move it up. I was hammering Kyle with the questions early in the season, but then he won 12 games in a row, and I'm just like, so Kyle, like, remember that other thing you did that worked out? Can we talk about how good that was, or can you talk about how good your team is? Yeah. God damn. Oh well. Well, day to day, I probably not. They're gonna play, but it's what percentage is CMC in terms of health? We'll never know. But Mitchell clearly not 100%. Yeah. Mitchell again? Where's Bosa? Bosa doesn't look 100%, so we'll just never know. I'm so mad. Kyle is tricky, man. He game plans me so well. But it's that late. It's that late in the day. It's that late right before the play clock expires, that shift, and you don't expect it. It gets you every time.
He got you, man.
But I know, but I know Kyle. I'm Dan Quinn to him. I should have known this. I should have seen it coming. That's on me. I got to take that into consideration.
I'd be more prepared for that.
But I think he knows that our show is so successful and is right now, and I think he was trying to mess with us. So now we got to get him back one step ahead.
How do we get him back?
Quality control. I'm going to do a quality control meeting. I got to tell him what to do this. I got to tell him.
Hey, you need to bring back the quality control meetings with Kyle and John. I want to.
No, I think I need to do that this week. Yeah. He needs my help. He needs my help, and he just pissed me off. Thanks for watching, everyone. A lot of people today. I feel like we're setting records every week with how many people are in here. And so in that sense, I like the Niners. Keep winning. This is fun.
Yeah.
They're creating the next generation of Niner fans. I'm sure there's like some 5-year-olds who are watching this being like, this is the greatest of all time. We're the best team. They never lose. I want to. Anyway. No, I'm Grant Cohn, Ryan Hensley. Make sure you follow him on YouTube and Twitter. He said Mitchell is a groin injury. That doesn't sound good at all.
Damn.
Good thing they have Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason's going to be clutch.
I'll be back later today with Larry Krueger.
Good Larry.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Larry's a legend.
Freaking baller.
Yeah. I remember listening to him when I was young, like a young guy listening to him. He's been around forever.
I remember when I was an intern at my brother's software company when I was 19, and people listened to the radio in offices. And Larry had just joined up with Gary Radnich, who had had his own show forever. And it was controversial. A lot of people were like, I don't like Larry. I just liked Gary. Other people were like, I hated Gary. He never even always got off point. At least Larry wants to talk about. And it was this whole all summer. Is Gary and Larry a good show? Larry's been around forever. He's really good at what he does.
All three sports, or
he can.
More, probably. Yeah.
He works hard. He grinds. He knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience, and he collaborates with us. I like our whole little collaboration nation that we got.
Yeah.
It sometimes on Twitter I see content creators going at each other, and I just chalk it up to alcohol. I don't know. Because it seems so unnecessary, and it seems like something that only happens after 7 o'clock at night or something. So I just try to feel like, man, you guys are grown men. Probably you guys had 3 drinks, or one of you did, and you'll never talk about it again. So I'm not getting involved. But other than those little fights that happen on Twitter, it's nice that there's basically a community of people on YouTube that are all sharing each other's audiences. Hey, man, let's do a show together. The people who like me should get to know you, and high tides raise all boats or something. Anyway, that was pretty mushy. And I don't know where I was going with that, but I enjoy it. I like it too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later today. Peace.